reference purposes. So we'll go ahead and start the recording right away. Good afternoon, amazing people. Once again, you're welcome to the March edition of my HR Storybook Live Series, where all we do here is to share life stories. Who doesn't like listening to stories? We don't just listen to stories on this call, but we take learnings, relatable life experience learnings from the stories of our guest speaker. We also have the opportunity to ask them questions. What has worked for them? What didn't work for them? What were their learnings in their own career or professional journey? So basically, it's just to gist and learn this afternoon. Welcome once again to today's session. Today we have a very special guest in the house. But before I invite her, after reading her profile, I want to acknowledge every woman on this call. It's International Women's Month, where we women celebrate ourselves. So every woman on this call, please, wherever you are, hug yourself and say, I celebrate me, because indeed you are girl on fire. You know what it means to be on fire, girl? You are not just anybody, but you're unique. You carry talent. You carry a lot of amazing things to transform and change the world. That is what it means to be a girl on fire. So girl on this call, I celebrate you. We equally acknowledge all our men on the call, our he for she's, who are always supporting us daily. I have my husband, he's listening, he's listening to this call somewhere around the corner of the house here. You know, we celebrate all men, we thank you and we appreciate you for all your support. Thank you, everyone. All right, so wherever you are today on this call, you're welcome. I'd like you to just put your best emoji on the chat so that we can create some form of connection this afternoon. What's your best emoji that expresses how you're feeling? Yes, Mojola, I love that emoji that you just threw out there. It shows the excitement. I'm equally excited, sis. What's your best emoji on the call? Just put it in the chat box. Let's get to understand how you feel. Wow, Tolani is from Assaulting. Wow, that's a nice one. Good, Tolani. What's your best emoji that expresses how you're feeling? Yes, someone is dancing. Rosaline is feeling gorgeous with herself. Thank you, Rosaline. Toyi, thank you. I love your dance steps. We should go dancing one day, you know. Daya's feeling like a star that she is. Evelyn is equally dancing. Bright, oh, Bright is loving us. We love you back, Bright. Amazing. One of our amazing he for she's. Thank you, Shade. Shade is feeling cool with her shades. Juliet, a lot of emoji that expresses how we are feeling today. Thank you so much, everyone. Can I please implore that you please mute your mic if you're not talking to avoid interference so we can have an engaging session this afternoon. Please mute your mic if you're not talking. Thank you so much, everyone. All right, we jump straight into today's session. Thank you, Bodlu Atife, for that virtual hug. Wow, I enjoy receiving hugs. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll go ahead and read out the profile of our amazing speaker in the house today. Mojola, I call her Mojeje, you know, that's our sisterly code nickname. I call her Mojeje, but she likes to be referred to as Jola. I've known her for years. We're former colleagues at Accenture, and she's someone that I really admire so much. And I personally am looking forward to hear her share her story, because there's a whole lot of learnings for us to take from her story today, especially given the topic that we are going to be focusing on today, which is women and technology. I mean, once the conversation goes on, I'm sure we would learn one or two things, and a couple of mind shifts, I believe, would happen this afternoon with regards to that topic. The International Women's theme is breaking the bias. Breaking the bias, the stereotype, the discrimination that we women face. And I think one major area that there's a lot of stereotyping, a lot of bias that women experience is in the space of technology. Which for me, when I spoke to Mojola about this, immediately she responded and gave her approval to come and share. And as I read her profile today, you will know that she's not just someone who is coming to share just for the sake of sharing, but she's someone who within her heart, she's passionate about women in technology. And God has given her that grace and enablement, which we appreciate over her life, and we look forward to learning from her. So I'll go ahead and read out her profile. This profile carries a lot of weight, so God help me, but I know somehow we'll get to it. So Jola heads the brand and reputation for Google in sub-Saharan Africa. She is passionate about technology. What did I just say? A woman that is passionate about, it's not just profile, but it's us getting to know that she's passionate. When someone is passionate about something, you address it from your heart. The experiences as well that would hear her speak today, I believe will speak to that. She is passionate about technology and its ability to unlock human potential and improve the general good. At Google, she has led business development of various products and initiatives, as well as led sales across Africa, managing Google's largest clients and growing industries from scratch. Wow, that is remarkable, Mojola. More recently, she's focused with her team on delivering Google's commitment in Africa to drive economic opportunity on the continent by supporting entrepreneurship, job creation, education, and gender equality. One of the flagship programs she leads is Grow with Google, a program initiated by Google Africa in 2017 to help create economic opportunity through free digital skills training. She has a wealth of experience spanning multiple industries and geographies, having also worked as a strategy consultant with Accenture, amongst others. She is a strong diversity and inclusion champion and advocate for representation of girls and women in technology. Jola is a mentor and advises on various programs and boards. She has been recognized as one of the 40 leading ladies driving the sustainable development goals, SDG goals in Nigeria. Wow, that is a laudable one, Mojola, and we are so proud of you for that. She holds a bachelor's degree in computer science from the University of Lagos and a master's in management and strategic information systems from the University of Bath. When she is not doing any of this, she is a wife, a pretty woman, a beautiful mom of two, a boy and a girl, nature lover, aspiring chef. Now, I'm not invited me to come and taste this of it, one of your delicacies, so please, I'm waiting for my invitation. She is an organizer, deep thinker. I love that bit, but I think thinking is one area that a lot of people don't make enough time for. And for her to say she's a deep thinker, we would glean from the knowledge and wisdom that, over the years she has garnered, and generally digging for gold in humans. So we have someone who is seeking for gold in humans. We are here, we are gold. Oh yeah, come on, let's get to meet you, Mojola. Thank you so much. Your profile, I must say, is very phenomenal and remarkable. Well done for all that you have done. I would like to start the conversation this afternoon about more around hearing your story, your career journey. How did you figure it out? Did you have it all well laid out to be a consultant and to work in Google, or maybe by chance you just stumbled on your career journey? We'd like to hear from you, Mojola. Over to you, and welcome again.
Thank you so much, Lara. It's an honor to be here. Lara is someone that I deeply admire as well. I've known Lara for years, as she said. I mean, we knew each other. I don't even know if we had kids when we knew each other. And we went through like having kids and, and all of that, together, and just growing our careers. But Lara is someone that I've always admired because she's always been focused. I remember when Lara joined Accenture, she was very clear in terms of like what she wanted to be. And like when she left Accenture, she was that. she made it happen for sure. So she's one that's always been very focused about the things I do. I'm very intentional. And I just want to celebrate you for your consistency, your intentionality, and all the great work that you're doing. And she's always a pleasure. She calls me Mojeje. She's like, well, just anyone that calls Mojeje, I just do it like, it's calling me, and she's one of those people that, when they just call you and they just ask you for things, even if you are busy, you just have to say yes, because you know that they've paid it forward in your life already. So you're like, okay, yes, like I'll make time. I have to do this. So it's an honor to be here for sure. Looking forward to sharing my story. I'm doing a lot more of this in the last few years, because I believe that, stories change the world, but also we also all need to some form of inspiration, and also knowing that, if this person can do it, I can, right? Any encouragement that we can glean along the way is critically important. And I love hearing other people's stories as well. So really looking forward to not just share my story, but also hearing from people on the call, their questions, their curiosities, and really nothing is out of line in this conversation. So feel free. Monica, feel free, feel free. For sure. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'm kind of funny like that. I switch between my professional self and my regular self and whatever. So definitely be comfortable. And feel free to ask me any questions. So, if I start with my story, I want to start with a story. This actually happened while I was at Accenture. Lara and Co, they staffed us on project. We've gone on a project. Thanks, Pedro. I hope I didn't murder that name, but thank you. I saw your comment. So what I wanted to share was around this experience I had while I was at Accenture. So I was at Accenture at the time, had I used to be in strategy consulting, and I used to work for a lot of banks and, just a lot of corporate organizations generally. And I remember one of my senior managers at the time, we're having a conversation, was at a client side. And this person said, I don't know what led to asking people like what they studied and things like that. But, and this person is dear to my heart. I still have a great relationship with this person till today. And they're like, oh, me, I studied this, I studied that, because in Accenture is a mixed match of people from different places. You have like people that studied medicine and they're consultants and things. So I studied that. I said, oh, I studied computer science. My senior manager just looked back. Computer science. I thought you studied English. I'm like, Oga, how far? Because in my head, and that's one thing about, we're talking about breaking the bias, today. People have different perceptions of you, right? So, and from that, early on in my career, people had this perception that, I was just not technical, right? But it was just a perception. It was just the perception. I was like, I actually studied computer science, and my master's is in strategic information systems. So it's not even like I just did one degree that was technical. I did a business degree that was technical as well. So it was, maybe your phone, exactly. So people just generally just feel like you speak really well, you're kind of confident in presentation and things like that. And so therefore you kind of went into the arts. So I say that to say one thing and to start this conversation. No one is allowed to put you in any box, right? And no one's allowed to define who you are. He didn't mean it in any harm. He just said what he thought. But I just made me wonder in terms of how many people have the same perceptions of like what I can and what I cannot do. I tell my daughter now, like my daughter, I have an 8-year-old daughter, I have a 12-year-old son. And my daughter will say, oh, mommy, I want to be an artist. And I want to be a dentist. And I want to be a police person. And I'm like, you can be all. Because you truly can be all, depending on what phase of life that you're in, right? I studied computer science. So if I go a bit into my background, I studied computer science at the University of Lagos. And what led me to study computer science? I was just curious. Curiosity was the baseline of me going into that. I originally wanted to study engineering in school. And I couldn't get into engineering. And I was like, oh, what's the next best thing? I was like, all these people that make computers, what do they do? But I was one of the, if I backtrack, I was one of those students that was good at almost anything. So when I was in school, I was in science class, but really I could have been in art class and I could have been in commercial because there was just no, for a long long time, I struggled with boxes. I struggled with people labeling you and putting you in a kind of definition of who they think you are. I was good at sciences. I was good at, arts topics. I was good at commercial things. So I really struggled to kind of just fit in, like to say, okay, I was going to do this or that. I could have been a lawyer. I could have been an accountant, and I could have been a doctor, right? And I could have been an engineer. But curiosity led me to computer science. But while I was doing computer science,
class on the 5th of February.
But I see.
Apologies for that.
No worries. So when I was in my second year in University of Lagos, I went to the University of Lagos. I quickly realized that while I love technology, because it was very fascinating for me, I thought that this thing could make life easier. From my profile, you'll also know that I'm an organizer. I really like to put things in order, right? So for me, it was like, okay, this technology thing, it can really make life easier. It can really change people's lives. It can really give people opportunities. It can really help solve the problems of the world. And from that curiosity, I was like, okay, I want to do it. But my second year, I realized very quickly that it wasn't my thing to be like an engineer, like a software engineer.
Right? You know, when people used to say, it shocked me. This one.
Yeah, so being a software engineer, I quickly realized wasn't my thing, because I'm also a recovering perfectionist. So I suffered from writing code, right? Writing code and debugging. I hated debugging code. I was like, let the code just be perfect. Let's not be debugging at the end and looking for where the mistake is. So I really struggled with that. And so I just realized that, okay, you know what? I love technology. I love business as well. I'm good in different parts, and I'm just going to, stick with the business side of technology. So I made that decision kind of early on my second year. I finished University of Lagos. I did, as I said, I did a business degree in technology. I did a master's in management and strategic information systems, and that was all great. And I went on to work for entrepreneurs, a series of entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship and people that are just taking ideas and turning it into impact always fascinate me. And I always find ways that I can support them. So I worked for 2 different entrepreneurs. When I had done my master's, I worked for Basecom Group, I worked for Silverbird, and I used to work directly with Ben Bruce. And that experience really was transformational for me, because it was an experience that built me from scratch. Like, it was, today I could be trying to buy a football club in England. Tomorrow I could be the tallest story building, right? And making proposals and writing financial models. Tomorrow I could be sitting in front of one influential person and making presentations. So the variety and just the challenge of it was really very interesting for me. And then I got to a point in my career where I felt like I was at the peak of my career. Like, I was working with, really influential people, but I self-doubted. I self-doubted. And then I was like, okay, and I have this technology degree and all this great stuff. And, what am I going to do next? And then I decided I wanted to go work in consulting, because I knew that consulting would build my base. And that was hard, I would tell you, because I went from, having my own office, my car, my driver, all of these things, to coming and working in the pool. Lara will understand this. To coming and working in the pool, right?
I know.
So I went to work, but I knew what I was looking for, right? I wanted to kind of validate myself in terms of like my knowledge and what I knew. And consulting was an amazing experience, because it also brought me across industries and things like that. And working at Accenture, because Accenture is also really strong on the technology side. And I used to work on a lot of like enterprise transformation projects. So it really required me to kind of have the business head, but also be comfortable with technology. And I talk about being comfortable with technology a lot, especially for women, because people look at me and say, okay, you have a computer science degree, that's why I'm speaking. Or we don't even know, maybe you studied English like my Oga had the perception of me. But it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that women should not be afraid of technology in whatever form. And in the simplest form of it, technology is just logic. It's just an application of logic, right? And so once you kind of look at it in that very simplistic format, then you kind of push yourself to learn as much as you can and just embrace it and say yes. And I'm going to talk through a lot of things. I'm going to talk through as part of the story is really going to hinge on three things. So let me just pause there and just put out these three things, and then I'll hit on them as I go along. One is authenticity. The second one is bravery. And the third is competence. So if you talk about the ABC of my career, I think these three things in a lot of ways have defined my career, right? It's being who I am, right? Regardless of what anybody thinks I should be. So if someone thinks that, I should be, should be in science class, or should be in art class, whatever. Yes, I studied computer science. I have a business head, and I'm interested in law and all the things as well. So just that authenticity and being myself is really critical. Bravery in the sense of like really related to what I was saying about technology, saying yes, right? Saying, okay, I don't understand it now, but I would understand it in a few, right? I'll understand it. Let's just talk about it. Just break it down to me. Just explain, not all these things, all this technology, something, well, let somebody else deal with it. It's not for me. Why is it not for you? The person that is going to do it who does not have to heads. So just say, okay, just break it down to me. Layman's language. Give me Reader's Digest version. Layman's language. Speak to me like a 5-year-old. Break it down to me like a 5-year-old or whatever. Just that bravery. Do not just say, I want to learn more. Tell me more. Is really critical. And I think that has also been very important in my career. The last is competence. Competence is not just, okay, I learned, I know it. It's like continuous learning, especially in the world that we live right now. It's like the one that you knew yesterday is completely relevant, right? It's continuous learning. I don't know how many of us, something just came to mind. I don't know how many of us, when we're leaving one job to the other, you'll save all your files, save. I wonder if I just put it out there, how many of us actually use any of those files that you saved? Like, oh, I kept this knowledge, I kept it, bring this one. The truth about it is that you probably don't, because you're going to learn new things on the new job or on the new role and things like that. So regardless of how much you save, right, which I'm not saying you shouldn't save, you still need to apply yourself to continuously learning and continuously evolving. So those are the three things I was defined. So let me go back. I'll switch back to my story. So I worked in consulting for a while, worked across industries. And then I got to a point personally, I enjoyed consulting because I used to work out of town, out of Lagos and things like that. I really enjoyed it. But as I said, myself and Lara met in consulting. We didn't have kids, we're young, we're ambitious, all of these great things. Then we started having families. Then we got married. Then we started having families. Then all these things. And then things started shifting. I was like, I don't think, I'm not sure. I don't think I want to be doing as much like this. So I don't think this is my life. I don't want anybody to tell me, oh, your ticket is waiting at the airport. You're meant to be in Abuja tomorrow. I have a child and a husband now. I don't want that lifestyle. So for consulting, leaving consulting for me was a really personal decision, not because I didn't like the work, but because at the time it doesn't fit within my phase of life, right? And I wanted something that would challenge me equally as I was in consulting, give me that opportunity to be an entrepreneur, and have an entrepreneurial experience and things like that, and build things, create solutions and all of that. But I didn't want the consulting lifestyle. The consulting lifestyle is kind of heavy on like traveling and being out of station and things like that. So I started seeking for other opportunities, and I got this, my current role actually on LinkedIn. So again, for anyone here, I don't think anyone that is following Lara should not be on LinkedIn. So I'll just assume that all of us are on LinkedIn. So let's just put our hand. If you are not, just keep quiet and just join. Just solve the matter. Just immediately after this, right? So I got my role on LinkedIn. Someone had posted something and I'd been praying about it. My faith is also a strong foundation of who I am. So I've been praying and everything for like the next opportunity that was equally exciting. That would make me impact the world as well. And I got this role. I got into Google, long story short. And at Google, I've done different things. I've been in Google now for over 10 years, and I've been in Google for 10 years because I've done so many roles at Google that it feels like I've had maybe 4 or 5 jobs while I've been there. So so that's kind of like in summary how I got into technology, or how I got into the tech industry at the core, right? Working for one of the largest technology companies in the world. If people ask me what do I do at Google, I got into Google, I started as business development, I did partnerships, I did sales, now I'm doing marketing. So again, people are like, okay, you work in Google, okay, so all the excuses that basically you say, okay, this is the reason why I'm not in tech, or this is the reason why I'm afraid of tech, whatever, just discard everything. Because I'm at Google now, I'm not a software engineer, I don't work on technology, but maybe my technology background gives me a lot of comfort with technology, right? So it gives me, like, even if I don't understand, what they're saying. I'm like, in a few, okay, be saying it. In 1 week, I'll start using that lingua. Just wait for it. Like, I will get there. And that is just, again, I wouldn't say because I just started computer science, but that was just born out. It's just born out of curiosity and that spirit of just like continuous learning. And again, also that thing of us just bravery and saying yes. Instead of you just saying, it's not for me. Every day, this is not for me, or whatever. I remember once, I'll share a story of one time earlier in my career at Google. So maybe over 7 years ago, I got an opportunity to work on a access infrastructure project. And this access infrastructure project was basically Google making a multi-million-dollar investment in network infrastructure, in data, right? For simple terms, like creating, solving the last mile for data so that people can have more access to the internet and things like that. I had no clue, right? So I'd worked in business development, I was working on some products and things like that. And then this opportunity came up and my boss had the confidence in me and said, Jola, I want you to work on this. And believe you me, it took me maybe a month to even understand some of the lingua they were talking, because then I had to work with like ISPs like internet service providers, so like the Swift network, the Fiber Ones, those kinds of people. I had to work with ISPs. I had to understand lingua, access infrastructure. I had absolutely no clue of what they were saying. But again, in terms of like just that bravery, just say, okay, yes, at the end of the day, I will build this, I would understand this, was really critical for me to actually working on that project. Again, on that project, my role was partnerships. But doing partnerships, like just making sure that I connect the right partners in the local ecosystem with the projects and things like that, it required me to, first of all, have like technical competence, just understand the lingua. 2, it required me to have, partnership skills, business development skills. 3, it required me to have some kind of legal understanding, because there were contracts and things to be negotiated, discussed, and things like that. So really bringing, all those things together and really just, saying, what, day one, I'm clueless, but this is not where it's going to end. At the end of this project, it's really going to make me better, than where I started, was really critical. And just saying yes and being brave and taking on those opportunities, even though it was a highly technical opportunity, is really great. And the more you say, the quote that says that growth happens in the place of discomfort, right? So that growth does not happen basically where you're comfortable. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable, and that's true. So no matter how much anything is stretching you, especially maybe things that are related to technology or not related to technology, embracing it and saying, okay, what is this teaching me? What am I going to? It's always great, because the next opportunity after that, sometimes is connected, or maybe not connected, but it makes you better. It builds some form of confidence in you that, okay, I overcame this, so therefore, whatever the obstacles that are before me, I can also overcome them. It's a muscle that we all have to kind of build as we go forward. I'm going to pause there now, and I'm just going to throw it back to Lara so that she just keeps me on track as well in terms of like what we should focus on.
Wow. Mojola, wow. That was amazing. There was a lot to learn from all that she shared. My notes is full. I don't even know where to summarize. But what stood out for me is your ABC. I call that the ABC of transformation, which first is knowing who you are, your authentic self. When you're a woman, the fact that you're a woman doesn't make you less human in any way. You can do anything as long as you know yourself. It's about being clear on your purpose, on what you're made for. You're made for more. For me, that's really that was profound. Then the bravery part, which comes for me, is the growth mindset. The mindset that comes with your knowledge of who you are. seeing opportunities as opportunities to learn, not, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do this. This is not for me. I'm not cut out for this. And therefore losing out on opportunity to learn and to grow. I think I can really relate because I left consulting to manufacturing, and initially it was like Greek to me. It was like Greek, or like manufacturing with all the terminologies around supply chain, marketing, sales, and I had to lead those portfolios. But here I am today. I sit in their meetings, I sit in their trainings, I understand the lingo as much as possible so that I am also growing on the job as as a woman. It's not an excuse to say, okay, I don't have manufacturing background, I've done consulting all my life, but I saw it as an opportunity to learn. So bravery for me is really key, having that growth mindset, seeing it as an opportunity to learn. And women, we need to also show up more and volunteer. You can't limit yourself because you have limited exposure or limited experience, but see it as an opportunity. Then show up, take on the opportunity, volunteer, and learn as you deliver on the job. Competence is really important. That is what will eventually distinguish you. And like you mentioned, it's continuous learning, continuous learning. Thank you so much, Mojola, for sharing your story, walking us through your career journey, especially bringing the family side, which every woman eventually we get to that phase of our life where you might have to take a decision between your career and your family. At the end of the day, there are concerns. A lot of women reached out to me and they are worried that there's a gap in their career journey, and they are worried how do they tell their next employer, how do they account for the gap, that they have had to stay at home with their kids. And it's a major area of concern for women. That gap always comes out. That they call it gap, and I'm wondering, why is it a concern? Why do you call it a gap? It was a decision you had to make for your family, and you need to sit down and understand what happened during that period. It's not just about your child, but you as a mom. What were the things that you were going through? Were there challenges? Were there learnings? Were there other things so it's not just about the child, and don't see it, for some women, they see it as an opportunity, as an area of real concern, but I really don't see it. As long as we women are able to properly document and account for what you did with your life within that period, and you equally share that. I think on this note, I also like to state here, Mojola, I don't know if you remember, when we talk about women going on maternity leave and getting promoted, Mojola was a consultant I remember at Accenture, you were on maternity leave when you got promoted. I mean, she was on mat leave and she got promoted. And there are a couple of bias around women in the workplace because you're pregnant. A lot of some employers see it as, okay, so if you're pregnant, you will not be adding value to the business because you are pregnant. And we say pregnancy is not a disease, even though, at that moment you're pregnant, you're expecting a baby, it doesn't mean that you would not work. So there is some bias around that. But for you, you have a story to tell. You were on mat leave, and you equally got promoted while on mat leave. Can you share with women? So how do we women, especially when we're expectant, how do we ensure that you're still able to deliver on your job? How do you manage all form of bias and stereotypes that comes with being pregnant as a woman in the workplace?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question, Lara, because I mean, these are real questions, real concerns. I'll speak to it from two different angles. One is as a woman that is going through it. Two is as a woman leader that has other people that would have to manage people that are going through it. Right now, I'm no longer having kids. Lara and I, we have this bond of like, we're done. We're done, right? But it's also critically important to me, like how I show up for the women on my team that are going through it at the moment. So I'll talk to it from those two angles. So one, from me going through it in my time, I always talk to, I always try to like to refer to the C, part of what I did in the ABC, right? The C part for me is really critical, which is competence, right? It's not, and your competence is not over time. Proving your competence or demonstrating your competence in the workplace doesn't happen overnight, or just does it just does not happen while you are pregnant. So people will build a perception of you over time. So the question is, while you're at work, even before you go pregnant, and while you're pregnant, like, what are the how are you showing up as a woman? So regardless of if you're going on maternity leave or otherwise, what have you contributed to the workplace that they're going to be able to put side by side your peers, either other women or men, that would demonstrate that you've actually delivered or over-delivered on this job? So that's critical. So I have all people that argue for women and say, people should understand, we're carrying the weight of the world and things like that. But I'm a huge equity champion. So on every hand, everybody's carrying something. Maybe you're a man or maybe you're a woman. We're all carrying something. And everybody needs to be respected for what they're carrying, or the responsibility that they play in society. That's fine. But that does not give an excuse for you not to do the work that you actually signed up to do. If you can't do that work, then you gracefully bow out. But once you're, as Lara says, pregnancy is not a disease. So once you've actually signed up for a job, do the job that you've been asked to do and do it well, right? Demonstrate your competence as a journey, not as a, as a hack, right? Not when you're 6 months pregnant, you're trying to hack it. No, right? Over time, from day one, be showing people that, this is what I'm about and this is what I bring to the table, right? And so that when, regardless of your phase of life, people can really understand and know that your reputation in the workplace is X. Your reputation is this person that is competent, delivers, does, great work, creative, whatever, however you want to be described. And people can always hold on to that reputation and not, bring up things and excuses, and then there's this tussle, this gender tussle that now becomes a thing when, things are discussed. So that's one on one hand, and that's how personally I like to look at it, right? Do the work you're doing, be competent at it, do it and do it well, right? Regardless of if you're pregnant, not pregnant, whatever. Day one to day X of when you're in that organization, do your bit and do it well. You're accountable to yourself, not just only to the people that employ you, not just for promotions or anything, but for your own self-fulfillment, for your own personal growth, for your own development. Do your work and do it well. On the other hand as well, I've also been privileged to have lots of leaders that have been so supportive of me while I went through, building a family, right? At Accenture, at Google, I've just been really blessed with that. People that basically stood by me, that basically said, this girl, we will cut you some slack, we will support you, whatever you need. You're so valuable to me as your manager or as to this organization and also. So I've really been blessed with that, right? And that's how I'd like to pay forward the people. So I want to speak to women leaders in this room. Some of us, life is very different for everyone. Some of us have it easy. Some of us have it tough. Some of us have it completely difficult. Some of us are completely crazy, right? Especially when you're building a family. Some of us are not even, they're just trying to build a family. The baby is not even there yet. They're just going to maybe treatments. And that is psychologically destabilizing on its own. We need to approach things like this with empathy, understanding, and really understand that what people are going through. Again, sometimes you have to lean to their past work or to their reputation and things like that, what they've built over time. But beyond that, in that moment, it's not a time to criticize people. You need to lean to the humanity, right? And just understand that this human being, before they became employee of X organization, before they became owner of head of whatever, group CEO of whatever, they are human. Before they even name them woman, they are human. So leaning into that humanity and really helping people to feel like they are cared for, they are heard, they are understood, and they're supported is really critical. I've had people do it for me, and I hope I've done it for the people that work with me as well. And that's what I would really like to encourage all the women leaders in here. Like, be there for that woman. Sometimes someone's not going to show up at work. It's not time to start reading out the law book of why, and I'm not talking about, talking to HR people, Lara's HR community and things as well. It's not time to start bringing out the love. Empathy is critical. Just helping people to get into their heads and knowing that, okay, you'll be okay. First of all, take care of yourself. Focus on the focus. In life, sometimes, like during the pandemic, for instance, all of us were forced to focus on the things that are most important. When you have COVID, you're not thinking about any work or anything, right? Or somebody in your family has COVID. So let's focus on humanity first and make people priority, because based on my own personal experience and the experience of people on my team, those people come back 1000% loyal when they know that you're there for them, right? Then they know that, when it matters most, you stood by them. So I really want to encourage all the women leaders here, be that for someone as well. Approach what situation, even if you're like, oh, this person, it's not only you. It's not a matter of only, we're all different and we all experience these things in different ways. So just discount it and just basically support whoever, any woman that is going through, be it building a family, or be it, trying to build a family, or other things related to mental health or whatever. Support people through it is my ask and my plea, I guess, on this platform today.
Wow.
I think that.
Wow, thank you so much, Mojola, for that. We are first humans before even being women, and even before occupying our rooms and having all the titles that we all carry now. Women supporting women. Thank you so much, Waya, for that. Linda says, yes, we are human before woman. Well said. Thank you so much. That's from Linda. Joe, I hope I got that right. Be there for that woman. Women supporting women, making people priority for the timely. Thanks for that timely reminder. Thank you, Taiwo. TDA is in the house. Well said, Mojola. I love your authenticity. Yes. We have another comment from Esther. Everyone is first above all human beings. Let's put that into perspective before everything else. Show empathy and compassion, both key. Thank you. A comment from Galaxy 8. Nice to have your name though. Thank you very much, Mojola, for the knowledge and experience shared. Thank you, Lara, for this forum, insight and opportunity. Thank you. Toyin says, do your bit and do it well for your fulfillment and development. Thank you, Toyin, for that comment. From YF Network, how we show up daily before pregnancy, we largely color, one sec, I missed that. We largely color how we are perceived when we become pregnant. Thank you. Kiru says, please loud it and break that table. Thank you, everyone. Please let's keep the comments coming and the questions as well. Thank you, Mojola, for that. I want to talk a bit around technology, really, because like you largely already stated, at the rate of today's businesses, businesses are constantly undergoing technology transformation. And then the tech sector is equally growing. Do you think as women, we are positioning ourselves well enough for opportunities in tech? What are your views and what's been your experience in this area?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Lara, because I think if we look at the stats tell us no, a capital no. So that's if I look at the stats overall, right? It says that women are have less access to technology overall. It shows that women have negative, or not negative, but women are not as comfortable with technology as their male counterparts. It shows that women in business are not using technology as much as their male counterparts. The stats just all move towards the fact that technology and women is like in some cases they're running a parallel race, right? They're not integrated. However, I think that we should change that. I'm encouraging all women to change that from the little things, right? Like from the tiny little things. The other day, my house help, who is an older woman, basically got a phone, like a smartphone. And then she was waiting for a guy to help her set it up. And then eventually the guy helped her set it up, and then she still could not use it. And I just took it from her and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to help you set it up. I'm going to do this and that's your phone. And you have to use it. And I keep pushing her to use the phone. They did not make what they call that phone, Palasa phone, or what they call it. They did not make it for women. But why is it that women have it the most? It is not for, they did not say this is the level that you are in. This new technology, embrace it, take it, learn it. Learn how to use, basic communication to WhatsApp, whatever. Just use it. You can't turn it into a thing. And then, also women also have this thing of like relying on their children, the ones that have kids, to help them with technology. So like, I don't know what's going on that phone. But when my son comes, he will do.
Yes. My son comes. Or when daddy comes.
No, that is not coming from anywhere. You learn to use it. Yes, when your son comes, tell your son to teach you. Tell your son to show you, right? If you don't want to embarrass yourself with your husband, or you don't want to feel somehow with your friends or whatever, tell them to show you, right? So from the little things, I think that women need to embrace technology. We need to push other women, older women, our mothers, our friends, our help, whatever. Push them to say, you know what, use this tiny one. This one too is for all of us. This is where the world is evolving. Use it. Beyond that, when we talk about women in technology or in technology careers, again, a lot of women have this aversion to, where do I even start? Do I have to learn coding? Do I have to learn this? Number one, you can learn anything. Anything is up for grabs. I know people that had zero understanding of technology, had zero background, maybe had medical background, and now they're in data sciences. And they just picked up one day, did one course to the other, did one internship, one this thing there. And now they're like data scientists, earning big money and things like that. So just pick an area. I won't say every woman has to be there. Not every woman has to be in technology. But my thing is, every woman should not be afraid of technology. You cannot be afraid of technology. You can't run away from it. Even if you're an HR person, right? There are systems and tools that you use, within HR that are technology tools. Get comfortable with them. Get comfortable with even how those systems internally, how do they work? How do they come? So, they need to do SQL queries to achieve this. Maybe you don't want to go deep, and you're a big woman now. You don't want to go deep into SQL queries. But when they call that SQL query, don't if your house wants to do bim, just send it back. Say, actually, yeah, SQL queries, what they do, okay, to query databases and whatever. And that's what we use it for. Understand at a high level what it is used for. Right? Okay, because it's a databases. Okay, I understand what database is. It's just a list, and they use it to kind of just sort data. Okay, fine, I get that. I'm not going to go into the deep of SQL. But the one that just SQL, just like, where is the IT guy? There's no IT guy anywhere. We are all IT people. Where is the IT guy? Come and do it. Like the IT guy will come and solve it or something like that. Embrace it more, learn more, whatever the role that you're in. If they say, they want to do this project and whatever, as I said, be brave. Put yourself in there. You might not know everything. You might not even know anything, but put yourself in there. And as Lara said, volunteer. Just say, okay, just for the sake of learning. What these things do for you, as I say, it builds your confidence. Once you have gone through one, you're just like, okay, I get it. You'll pick a few buzzwords, I get it. And then you're comfortable with the next, and then with the next, and with the next, and you begin to grow. Right? I definitely encourage girls to take content because that's also where the money is. If we look at how the world is evolving, if you look at all the skills that are going to be relevant for the future, there was a research done by World Economic Forum that shows the kind of jobs that are going to fade and the jobs that are going to be relevant for the future. You see that a lot of the jobs are either technology inclined jobs, or they have an inclination in one way or the other to tech. And even for the things that have to do with like creativity and things like that, there's an infusion of technology. You see things like people that say, we're doing an art exhibition, but when you're looking for an infusion of how AI plays into art, just even understand, what is AI? Artificial intelligence. What's artificial intelligence? Simple things. Like I even encourage women to kind of pick up, how I put it, all these books are just like basic. Let me just understand the basic. Don't go too deep. The most important thing, as far as I'm concerned, is the comfort. It's not like you know everything, because nobody actually knows everything. It's just so that when you step into a room, when you step into a conversation, when they're saying something technical, you're not like, bim, bim, this is not for me. Bim, bim, you shut down. Bim, bim. You're just like, your heart is just throwing you all over the whole place. And it's like, okay. I know that one. Tell me more. Approach it with curiosity and approach it with, just a willingness to learn. And I know that, not all women, not everyone is going to work in tech, right? But that's if we all want to be relevant for the future, we need to be comfortable with technology because it's going to invade our work and our lives in more ways than not.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Mojola. Like you rightly said, technology for us women to stay relevant, we need to embrace and feel comfortable with technology. It's not all about knowing everything, but get comfortable, keep an open mind, learn, stay curious, understand the basics. And when we were talking about SQL, I remembered in 2020 when I was doing my data analytics refresher training, you know, I was enjoying the whole session. When we got to SQL, I said, kilele. You know, I just said, okay, what do I need to understand? Just the basics. What's the summary? Please, I move, you know.
Yeah.
But I was still curious to understand how the entire SQL framework worked, the thinking, the logic, and everything. But I knew I understood my threshold, but I'm comfortable with it. Yes,
but
yes.
you stayed in it.
I stayed.
Because some people that from there they're giving up or down. You have to stay there, stay in the arena. Stay there.
I stayed. I was having a dig. I was asking myself, who sent me message? Who sent me message? But overall, I learned. I got comfortable with it. So when I see young people now talk about SQL databases, I know what they are talking about, even though I can't understand coding and the nitty-gritty. But I understood the entire basic. So really important, we women, for us to stay relevant in the future of work. The future of work is even now. It's no longer in the future. The future is here. We need to position ourselves. And for us to do that, like Mojola rightly told us, is for us to have an open mindset. Let's embrace learning. Let's embrace learning so that we can stay relevant. Amazing. Wow, Mojola is 1 hour already. And I'm really loving and enjoying the session. Thank you so much. So many comments in the chat box. So many comments. Esther says, truly nudging and inspiring. At some point, my boss was apologizing to me for making me do some IT things for other employees. I told him not to apologize, that I enjoyed helping others navigate on some tech issues on their laptops and suites. Women really need to embrace tech with everything they've got. We all need to, by all means, to remain relevant. Thank you so much for reiterating this, Mojola. Epic. Kausara states, technology is here to stay. We women must embrace it, and we will always race against it. Thank you. Brenda says, tech rules the world. Yes, indeed. Dekpeju says, tech is the new oil. You're spot on. Elizabeth states, this is how I relate in my office. Zainab states, this all boils down to curiosity, wanting to know more and do my. Totally agree. Toyin states, we can't run away from technology. Kausara, it is relatable. Thank you so much. Okay, I mean, you've said it, it's been a great session, Mojola. Please, let's keep the questions coming. I think today's topic is extremely relevant for every one of us. What we have learned from Mojola are tips and nuggets on how to navigate through technology. Technology is the future. And what do we need to do differently so that we stay relevant? I want to talk a bit about girls too can rock the hoodie. Girls too can rock the hoodie. I remember sometimes last year, my daughter came to me and said she wanted a hoodie. I was wondering, hoodie? What do you want to use hoodie for? Are you a guy? I was saying, no, mommy, I want hoodie. I want hoodie. You know, and there's this acronym that girls too can rock the hoodie from the perception around how guys in technology dress. I know you talked about having a perception. So there's this perception that men in technology have a certain way that they look. And for women to embrace and thrive in such technology, you also need to dress the way guys dress. You know, so for some women, it's a bit of, how do I balance my femininity and being in a role that is male a male dominant role. So what's your experience with that? I have mine in terms of tech and manufacturing experience, but I'll share mine, but I'd like to hear your views on that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, completely can identify with that. And that links to the first thing that I mentioned, which is authenticity. You have to be yourself. Oh. You really do have to be yourself. So I'm one of those people that I feel like girls can rock the hoodie, but girls can also rock their heels. If you want.
Say it. Rewind. Rewind.
You know, rock whatever. Rock the hoodie, rock your heels, rock whatever.
Yes.
You know, does you.
Does rock you.
Just rock you, right? So no one should ever, like I said at the beginning, no one should ever be able to put you in a box, right? Yeah, wear James Bond, then put some badass stilettos.
Yes, sir.
Yes, just do you, right? No one should ever be able to put you in a box. Say, oh, this is how you should look, this is how you should dress, this is how you should whatever. And I think that that's critically important. I'll give you some. This one is not necessarily even for technology, but even in life generally. This week I still had to deal with that. So I've been working from home a lot personally, and in working from home, I didn't realize how much weight I'd gained. And then I've been going into the office a bit more often now, and then I just started realizing, and I had a lot of this month with all the women programs and things, a lot of powerful events, speaking sessions, and things to go. And then I was trying to fit into some of my old clothes. And then I realized that, a lot of my clothes didn't fit. Right. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go shopping. But I didn't have the time because I'd also had other personal things that I was doing at the time. I've just been really busy. I didn't have the time. And then something just, like most women, like my husband is always laughing, I don't have anything to wear, but see your wardrobe, is full. I still don't have anything to wear. So I just realized that I'm going to do this shopping inside my wardrobe, and I'm going to wear things that I'm going to find things that are comfortable, and I'm going to go for this really high profile event, speak on this high profile stages and whatever. And so I did, right? So I did. And in some instances, I even forgot about the dress code. And then I wore something, that was just simple work wear and things. But what that experience really taught me was that in a lot of sense, and it wasn't as if I was wearing rags or anything, I was wearing things I was comfortable in, I was okay in, is you don't need the cloak as a person and as a woman. Sometimes, we think about all these things that you think you need. I say, you know what, I want to work in tech now, so I'm going to go and buy ripped jeans, and I'm going to buy t-shirt only, so they can see me as this, and they can see me as that. Or me saying to myself in this story, experience that I just shared, to say, oh, I have to by all means go and do this heavy shopping because I'm going to be staying on this high profile, speaking at all these high profile events, and I'm going to go and spend all these thousands and thousands of money to just, to just look the part of this big woman or whatever. And I went through like 2 weeks of like this back-to-back everything happening and all of those things. And I didn't shop anywhere. And I realized that a lot of times everything that you need is inside of you, right? And confidence. There's nothing as attractive as just confidence. Knowing your stuff and being confident and just boosting yourself to just stand on that stage, even when you are shaking inside, to just say what you need to say, do what you need to do, and just show up. So sometimes we talk about this, biases, how I need to look this way, I need to look that way. Put it aside first. Just first of all, think about what is the core, the most important thing, my message, my assignments. I'm not saying don't dress the part, so nobody should come here and say, Jola said we should not dress. But I'm saying don't make that your 100% focus. Don't make that your 100%. Your assignments in that role, on that stage, in that particular event or whatever, is more basic, but that should not be your focus. Focus on your work, assignment, and things. Then now, okay, what do I have, and how can I make the best of it? Right? If I need to go shop, I'm not saying I'm not going to go shopping. I'm like a woman like everybody else. I still buy lots of things, so I'm still going to go shopping. But for those 2 weeks and my back-to-back events, everything I had was in my wardrobe. Everything I wore was in my wardrobe, and I did not have to put on this cloak of a big woman, you know, this cloak of investing hundreds of thousands to just look a certain way. And I dare say I delivered on all those assignments. So it's I would say girls can rock the hoodie. Girls too. Nobody should ever say girls cannot rock. If girls want to rock hoodie, they should rock hoodie. But girls too can choose to show up and be software engineers with heels. And that's okay too. So the most important thing is that, can girls be software engineers? Can girls be in tech? Yes. So let's focus on that first. How we show up is based on our authenticity, our variety as human beings, our creativity, as comfort, whatever that we then bring on top of it. That's cherry on the cake or icing on the cake, but the cake itself has to be solid first.
Powerful. Awesome. That was profound. Thank you. So, girl, you can rock your hoodie and rock it on your heels. More importantly is the content, not the container. What stuff you're made of. So your content is really, really critical. Thank you so much. Mojola, that was profound. I have a question here from Afyong. It reads, kindly share your experience regarding how you remained curious and how you know you are in the career you ought to be in.
Okay, so I mean, how did I remain curious? I think maybe because, I don't know, maybe personality-wise, life goals-wise, exposure-wise, whatever, I let me own my stage. I'm an ambitious woman, right? So in one hand, you know, I say, oh, let's not be real. I really honestly I'm an ambitious woman. It doesn't mean that I want to be, I mean, my definition of success and ambition is very interesting, but I really want more. I really want to, you know, be relevant. I'm stimulated by intellectual conversations and things like that. So when I describe myself as a deep thinker, I look for patterns in things. I want to discuss, I want to analyze this. I'm just that kind of person. So being curious and staying curious comes slightly natural to me because of just the way I'm set up, right? So you're like, okay, what's that about? Can I understand more? You know, okay. And sometimes as well, I'm like, I don't care and I don't want to understand, and it's not for me. So don't think like I'm always like trying over having FOMO or something, you know. I'm always trying to know whatever. Sometimes I don't care about certain things, right? But for the things that I care about, right? All the things that are technology, entrepreneurship, you know, gender equality and things like that. Once I have the opportunity to learn, I want to just like, okay, at the basic, can I learn more? Can I understand more? So curiosity for me has been one of my superpowers because it opens me up to what can it be. It doesn't put any pressure in terms of like, for me, it doesn't put any pressure in terms of like, how do I put it? Always reading, always whatever. I'm also a wife, I'm a mother, whatever, and I have like regular life and regular challenges like most of us, right? So it's not about that. It's about every opportunity that I get, be it an interaction with a nephew that is playing Roblox, or be it, and I just have 2 minutes to understand, okay, what is this Roblox? Okay, it's a game. Okay, maybe today I take away that one is a game. That's all I take. Then I realize that, okay, so every opportunity, just openness to learning for me is, and practicing it, I think it's a muscle as well. Practicing it with even the little things and just like, okay, asking questions, not being afraid to ask people questions, say, okay, how does that work? What do you mean by that? And things like that. And okay, and also for the things I don't really care about, being okay with not knowing. I'm just like, okay, I don't know that. That's fine. Maybe it's not the time, or I don't have the time to learn that or to know more about that. The second part of the question I missed. What's the second part? Let me see.
Yeah, so the second part is, how do you know you are in the career you ought to be in?
Okay, yes. So thanks for asking that. I would say is, earlier in my career, I don't know what stage of your career that you're in. Earlier in my career, I just knew a few things. And I think that the way God has designed the world, it doesn't reveal everything to you for a reason. We'll find out when we get to heaven. But earlier in my career, I just took one step at a time, really, right? I chose, okay, you know what, I'm going to do that and I'm going to build on that. So that's the next step. Then I took a detour there, that I went to work for an engineering, like an electrical and mechanical engineering company, when I came back to Nigeria. And I was like, okay, what can I learn from this? I really like the entrepreneurship spirit, and just taking that one and put it in the bag as well. And also because it was a technical space, I was like, okay, it's not computer science, it's electrical and mechanical engineering. Okay, let's just learn, just understand, that curiosity again and things. And then moving from there and then going to work at Silverbird and working with an entrepreneur, building all sorts of businesses. I was like, okay, what can we learn from this? And then going to Accenture and things. It's really just taking the next logical steps, I would say, in front of you. Like, what do you have in your hands now? What is the opportunity that is presenting itself to you in your career? Taking that one and saying, okay, how can I being brave enough to say, okay, I'll take that one, I'll build it, and I'll take it from there. So that's one way that I think that I've, kind of been on that path. How did I know that, I've been in the right career for me? Later, much later, I started putting all of these things I've described together into more like a vision for myself, asking myself tough questions in terms of like, what do I want to be known for? Not just in my office, but what do I want to be known for in the world? What is my contribution to the world? And being able to define that, right? Not defining that as I defined it and then full stop, because that also will evolve, right? But asking yourself that question and writing it down and saying, this is my answer. I want to be known for this person that supported entrepreneurship or grew entrepreneurship on the continent of Africa and helps to build African brands to be at par with any brand in the world, and so therefore helps to break all the bias about Africa, whatever. That's, and piecing that together, then fine-tuning that along the way. What that vision does for you is that it brings a level of clarity. Clarity does something for you. Clarity helps you to say yes and no. Clarity helps you to be brave, right? So you know the things that you say yes to and the things that you say no to. So there was a part of my career where I created that vision for myself, and it was along the lines of something I just described now, because I wanted to help, entrepreneurship on the continent of Africa. And that was my vision. That was many years ago. That was my vision. And so it was very clear to me, even speaking engagements, things I needed to do, the things I say yes to were very clear. The things I say no to were very clear. And I kept building and building on all those experiences, and I kept going. And then, as I said, it's an evolution. Then, somewhere in my career, I got an opportunity to work in education, like to help to spur like digital skills education on the continent, which is still part of my portfolio now. And I was asking myself, how does this one relate to helping businesses and helping build great brands out of Africa, which I defined as my vision at the time? But I was also passionate about it because I'm a Nigerian and I understand, some of the gaps that we have in this country. I was also passionate about it, and I did not say at that time, and it was a great opportunity and all. And I was like, actually, I'd like to solve this too. So once you create your vision for yourself, not evolution, you will evolve as an individual, as a person. So you should not put yourself also in this thing and say, okay, you know what, this is the end. You would also know, like, there's also an inclination from within you that that, okay, this makes sense now, this doesn't make sense now, and things like that. And I did that work for a while. And that digital skills education was more for like young people, but also for small businesses and things. And then I evolved my role again, into like, supporting entrepreneurship and things like that. Outside of even my core role, I still continue to support like even the startup ecosystem, support entrepreneurs on the side, be a mentor, sit on boards and things, right? Even when I felt like, okay, my role was not 100%. It was like maybe 60, 70% in line with what I defined, but it wasn't 100% in line with what I defined as my vision, right? I was like, okay, 70% is good, 60% is good. So what else can I do that will also give me personal fulfillment? Again, maybe I digress or go back a little to say, when you're defining that vision, it has to be something that you're also passionate about. It has to be something that you really want to solve. And sometimes we also need to be honest with ourselves, right? Sometimes people are like, okay, I'm in a job now, and this job has nothing to do with my passion, desires, and everything, but it pays my bills. So don't also discard that. That's also valid. It pays your bills. Our money is important, right? But outside of that job that you're doing, what else can you do to have your creative expression or full expression of yourself, right? So they say, okay, you know what, maybe I want to go and do fashion. Like so one of my, I would say side hustles, but also inner passion is fashion retail, right? I've run side businesses with my sister, doing fashion retail, exporting African fashion to the diaspora and things like that. But it was never my core job. I don't know if my parts in future will circle back to me owning a big fashion brand or whatever. I don't know. But I found a way to express it outside of my 9 to 5, which was paying my bills, and while still doing things that I was equally passionate about. So it's really just like searching within yourself, knowing like, okay, searching within yourself and knowing, okay, what am I truly passionate about? Being honest, putting things in their place in terms of where they sit in your life, creating a vision and working with that vision to help you get there and evolving that vision as you go along. Not like thinking, okay, this is new knowledge will help you add to that vision and make it better.
Thank you so much, Mojola. You did justice to that question. Like, Funke already alluded to that on the chat. Mojola killed the question on how to know you're in the right career. Get a grip, but allow for evolution. And I always say to people that career goes beyond your job. It goes beyond your job title. It's more around what contribution do you want to make to the world. If you see your career in that direction, it helps you shape your career on your career journey. Mojola, I have just 2 more questions. One from the chat and one based on the comments you made around building digital skills, which also shows how you sort of delve into education. I mean, one of the biggest problem we face in the tech world is the belief that we don't have a lot of women with science background. We don't have a lot of women in STEM. And from the younger age, we see that the population of women in tech, it's not so encouraging. I remember even getting a chat from someone yesterday in a group around the need for us to go back to the basics. If we want to improve women in technology, we need to go back to the basics. What's your experience on how females can thrive in technology? Do we all need to have science background? How do we encourage younger girls in high school, in secondary school, to embrace more science, to embrace more STEM related study in their career, so that way there might be some level of improvement of having more women in technology? What's your view on that?
Yeah. Okay. I would like to sum that up into one word, which is signaling. Signaling, and that is dependent on all of us and some of the conversations that we've been having here today. So while we can talk about it more on the macro level, and we talk about the fact that even girls are not even in schools in the first place. So if you look at the kind of the macroeconomic, like girls are not in schools. So as there are no countries, there's still people that still choose to send boys to schools and leave girls at home. So there's still that problem. Then girls are not in doing sciences and all of those things. We can look at that from that level. But where I want to look at it from is the kind of women that we are and what are we projecting onto those girls. If you're a mother and you are telling your boy to solve your phone problems, and your girl cannot solve your problems, maybe you like it or not, your daughter is most likely not to be in STEM. You've already sent a signal. Technology is not for girls. If when they want to go to summer camp, and I'm speaking to mothers for a sec, if you want to go to summer camp, you choose to send your daughters to normal lesson or send your daughters to etiquette lesson and send your boys to coding camp because your daughter just made a small comment like children to say, Mommy, I don't want that. You not say, okay, no, don't worry, you go to normal lesson, you go to coding camp. You already sent the wrong signal. What signal are we sending as older women to make a level playing field for young girls in technology, to make it seem normal? To make it seem normal. You are not, how I put it now, you don't work in tech yourself or whatever, but what are you telling your girls? In terms of, okay, a role in HR might be good for you. You are forgetting and you are doing them a disservice because you are forgetting that the role in HR requires technology too. You know, maybe you are going to go and study law, and your brother engineering. All those, I'm hoping that in our generation we're much better than that. I'm really rooting for our generation that we're much better than that. I'm not creating all these stereotypes and projecting all these stereotypes onto girls because really there's nothing you can do about it. If your daughter comes and says, I'm not good at maths, and something inside you accepts they're not good at maths, instead of investigating, maybe it's the teacher, maybe it's the way she's being taught, putting an extra effort to help her, and all of those things, and you just accept, maybe she will not even need maths. It's already the problem. So for me, it's really around that. It's the signal that we're sending to girls in technology. The signal that we're sending on a day-to-day, but also for us that are women in tech or women in our day-to-day lives, but also in our careers, to make it seem as if something is impossible, is for this person or is for that person. It is for whoever is interested and whoever is competent to do it, period. So if a young girl comes to you and says, oh, I want to be an aeronautical engineer or whatever, the first reaction should not be shock. You're like, okay, nice. You know, how are you going to get there or whatever? That should be your first reaction. I know some people, some people can maybe want to bother me and say, when she build a family, she can do it all. She can build a family and still be an aeronautical. These are they will teach people not to get married or to kick or all those kinds of things. She can do it all. Is approaching it the right way. To basically not differentiate and create all these false boxes where people, boys can do this, girls can do this, even without us knowing it.
Awesome. Thank you. So the last question is from someone who has sent me a private chat. It reads, join this meeting not too long. Please, what are the basic tech areas we need to start building from as a HR professional? I just started a career in HR. I just wish to know what to start with tech-wise. That will be the last.
Can you hear me, Lara?
Yes. Did you hear that question, Mojola? Hello? Mojola, did you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
You.
Okay. Did you hear the question or you want me to repeat the question?
I heard something around okay, maybe repeat the question. So don't let me assume what I know.
All right. So join this meeting not too long. Please, what are the basic tech areas we need to start building from as an HR professional? I just started a career in HR. I just wish to know what to start with tech-wise. Is that my network or Mojola's network?
I missed that.
Okay, I guess it's the network. I'll repeat that again.
So what you said that HR people build tech.
Yes, so I guess it's the network. Let me repeat that question again. Mojola, please confirm you can hear me clearly. Hello? Yes, Mojola is having a bit of network challenge. Hi, Mojola. Hello? I hope it's not my network. Please, can someone hear me?
You can hear.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Apologies, I think Mojola has a bit of network challenge. She should be back as quickly as possible, I believe. But I hope we're all having a great time. Yeah, we're wrapping up though, but I hope we're all having a great time.
Yes.
I am having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for still staying up until this time. Thank you. At some point we had 90 people on the call. Thank you so much. I'm sure Mojola will join us back.
Hi.
She's back.
Oh, Mojeje,
Yes.
okay. All right, great.
I'm on my phone now. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. We'll wrap up. I have the last question here for you. It reads, please, what are the basic tech areas we need to start building from as a HR professional? I just started a career in HR. I just wish to know what to start with tech-wise. So this is relating tech to HR.
Okay, great. So I think I would say from a basic level is just having like basic digital skills. So understanding, I want to start from the rudimentary level, understanding how to maybe use your computer a bit more. So understanding how to use your computer a bit more to be productive in a workplace, right? So using productivity tools like collaboration tools, I mean, the most common ones between Google Workspace and Google Workplace Suites, as well as even things like the Microsoft Suites as well. So really just being familiar with like how to use those things, simple things like Excel, simple things like, you know, spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and things like that. That's really critical for in the workplace. Like, how do you take your idea from like notes on your notebook to transferring that into like a presentation, using a computer and things like that. So even those basic rudimentary things are extremely critical, right? So communicating with technology and collaboration with technology is how I'll summarize that. Beyond that, there are many HR tools, and I think that it always differs depending on the organization that you're in terms of like what tools that they choose to use. Being familiar with that as well. In addition to that as well, I think, you know, really just taking on additional knowledge around, you know, things like data and analytics is critically important for anyone really. So like any courses that you can find that just like basic data analytics kind of knowledge, it's important. We have some courses on the Grow with Google platform. So I'd encourage you to actually go onto the Grow with Google platform, look at the basic digital skills training, which is free, as well as other trainings and topics on there, which you can begin to just like build your digital competence overall.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mojola. Thank you. It's been 90 minutes just hearing your story, listening to the gist from you. That's all we do here. We just share stories for impactful learning. Thank you everyone for joining today's session. My HR Storybook, like you all know, it's a book that that chronicles the stories of the career stories of HR professionals. What we do here on a monthly basis is to invite a live guest to come and talk about their story. No PowerPoints. We don't want PowerPoint. We're tired of PowerPoints. Let's just hear life experiences that is relatable, that we can all connect with that speaks to what we are all going through. And that is what we do here, to read the stories of other professionals. You can see on my screen where you can get a copy of my book, both soft copy and hard copy. I always say to people that life principles are universal. It doesn't mean you're in HR. It doesn't mean you're in finance, you're in marketing, you're in business development, that those principles are specific to you. They are universal. As long as you apply it to any career that you're in, you would get the outcome, you would get the result. So what we do is just to listen to success principles from other people, and then we use it to go and design our own journey. You know, as much as I would have loved to work at Google, I was never invited for an interview. Maybe in the future. I remember several years ago when I wanted to join Google, and the first thing someone mentioned to me, I think it was Mojola, was they don't have an HR department. I'm like, huh? You don't have HR department. I mean, it's one work environment that is highly disruptive and extremely innovative. And over the years, we can see at Google how much result that the company has recorded. It's been an amazing time this afternoon listening to you, Mojola Oluwa. Thank you so much. As part of what we usually would do, would invite someone from the participants to please go off mute and just give the vote of thanks on behalf of everyone. Okay, anyone who wants to just share the vote of thanks on behalf of all the participants this afternoon to Mojola. If you really learned something and you just want to express yourself, I mean, I can tell you, she might invite you for
Hi.
opportunity at Google. Yes, who is that, please?
Hi, my name is Aderemi-Makinde.
Hi, Efechi, please go ahead.
Hi, okay, on behalf of everyone, this has really been good value for time. I actually learned so much. I was actually sleeping and I didn't want to disrupt my sleep, but I don't know, the alarm just kept continuing, and I was like, okay, let me just listen for 10 minutes and continue my sleep, but I can't close my eyes anymore. And on behalf of everybody on this platform, we just really want to say thank you for sharing yourself. I think you didn't just share with us, you shared yourself, and that really goes a long way to show the kind of person you are. Thank you as well, Lara, for heeding to purpose, because this is more than just a talk show or just a session. Thank you, everyone. Wishing everyone a restful Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mojola, once again. I really do appreciate your making time and sharing